Before we dive in, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit like, and comment if you love a story full of betrayal, suspense, and courtroom drama. You won't want to miss what happens next. The rain fell in sheets over the quiet suburban street, washing the neon glow of streetlights into blurry streaks across the slick asphalt. A black sedan skidded to a stop outside a nondescript townhouse, tires hissing, headlights cutting through the night. Inside, Tyler Scott's hands were shaking, his pulse pounding in a rhythm faster than the wipers slashing at the windshield. He wasn't used to running. But tonight, running wasn't just instinct, it was survival. Rachel Morgan had been missing for hours. Or at least, that's what her friends believed. Tyler had called her that morning, a voice tight with panic, claiming she was safe, claiming it was a misunderstanding. But the voicemail, the one deleted in haste, had lingered on the phone long enough for investigators to hear the terror under his composed tone. Something about it didn't sit right. Detective Lisa Vance crouched beneath the eaves of a neighboring house, rain soaking her hair, notebook open, eyes trained on the townhouse door. The reports had been puzzling from the start. A wealthy couple in their early 30s, no prior criminal records, yet tangled in whispers of infidelity, secret bank transfers, and anonymous threats. And now, Tyler Scott's sudden flight in the middle of the night suggested far more than marital tension. Inside, the apartment was a chaotic shrine to contradiction. Luxury and disorder collided. Expensive wine bottles rolled across the floor. A laptop sat open, the screen flickering with browser tabs and private messages. A torn photograph of Rachel and Tyler, smiling innocently in summer sunlight, lay crumpled in a puddle of spilled whiskey. On the counter, a small envelope marked urgent waited, its contents ripped open, papers scattered. Financial statements, multiple accounts, unfamiliar names, money moving, always moving, under shadows Tyler had tried to hide. Tyler's phone buzzed. He didn't answer. He knew the messages would make him look guilty. Someone was watching, someone waiting. And somewhere in the digital maze, Rachel's location, or at least the proof of what had really happened, was buried. He could feel the walls closing in. Every glance toward the door reminded him. One misstep, and it wasn't just his freedom on the line, it was his life. Detective Vance's phone buzzed as she typed into her tablet. Surveillance footage had picked up Tyler leaving Rachel's building hours before the first call to police. But the footage didn't show Rachel leaving. It didn't show Tyler hurting her. Only a shadow passing behind a curtain. A brief glimpse of a scarf fluttering in the wind. And then, nothing. The absence of evidence became a puzzle in itself, a silence louder than screams. Neighbors reported seeing strangers near the building in the days before the disappearance. Anonymous cars circling, unfamiliar faces peering through curtains. One witness, a janitor, mentioned seeing a delivery van parked unusually long in front of the building. Another remembered hearing Rachel arguing with someone on the phone, her voice shaking but defiant, demanding answers Tyler couldn't, or wouldn't, provide. And now, Tyler's sudden erratic behavior painted a portrait detectives couldn't ignore, a man entangled in deception, yet unsure if he was the predator or merely a pawn. Then the emails arrived. Screenshots pulled from multiple devices, tracing back weeks of encrypted conversations. Threats to expose Rachel, messages implying betrayal, and an unfamiliar third-party intermediary guiding Tyler's actions behind a curtain of secrecy. But the most shocking message wasn't the threats. It was the financial ledger buried within the emails. $200,000 moved through accounts Tyler had no knowledge of, funds labeled with Rachel's initials, and an address he had never seen. Detective Vance stared at the screen. This was no ordinary cheating scandal. No simple domestic dispute. Layers of manipulation, surveillance, and financial trickery suggested someone wanted them both trapped in a web of accusation. Someone had planned this long before Rachel vanished. And Tyler, for all his panic and lies, might be the only person who could help unravel it, or condemn them both. But the final clue, discovered moments later by forensics, made her stomach turn. Behind the living room bookshelf in a hidden compartment were items that no ordinary couple would hide. A set of burner phones, multiple passports, a notebook filled with names and numbers, and a small stack of envelopes with Rachel Morgan's handwriting. The handwriting was precise, deliberate. One envelope was labeled, "If I disappear." Detective Vance's eyes widened. Tyler had been following instructions, or Rachel had been following a plan, But the evidence suggested both parties were ensnared in something bigger than infidelity or domestic quarrels. The betrayal was not singular, it was double. And when they opened the locked basement door, what they found changed everything. The quiet suburban street outside, the rain, the slick asphalt, everything had been a stage. A story built on secrecy, manipulation, and hidden alliances. Tonight, the lines between victim and suspect blurred, and the trial of Rachel Morgan versus Tyler Scott had only just begun. The rain had stopped, leaving a damp mist clinging to the neighborhood. Detective Lisa Vance lingered near the basement door, her flashlight cutting through shadows that seemed almost alive. The envelopes, burner phones, and passports told her one thing clearly. This was no simple domestic drama. This was a labyrinth of secrets, and every step forward revealed another twist. Tyler Scott had been cooperative, though reluctantly. His hands were still shaking when he explained the contents of the hidden compartment. "I didn't know about half of it," he said, voice tight with fear and guilt. "I swear, I was just following instructions, emails, messages. She made me do things I didn't understand." But Vance wasn't convinced. His every glance toward the scattered papers betrayed a mixture of terror and something darker, knowledge he had not yet admitted. The first task was tracing the money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars had shifted through accounts in a sequence too sophisticated for a single person to manage. Anonymous transfers, offshore accounts, prepaid cards, untraceable cryptocurrencies. The funds led to a small network of shell companies, each tied to an address Tyler didn't recognize. And yet, each transaction bore Rachel's initials. Meanwhile, in courtrooms across the state, lawyers were preparing for what would become the most sensational trial either of them had ever faced. The public was captivated by headlines: cheating scandal or elaborate trap, and mystery money and missing woman rock suburbia. Social media debates surged, each comment thread more heated than the last. Public opinion was a pendulum swinging violently between Tyler's guilt and Rachel's supposed duplicity. But behind the cameras and online hysteria, the real danger was closer. On a rainy Tuesday morning, a man approached Tyler outside his lawyer's office. His face obscured by a baseball cap, his voice low, threatening. "Stop digging, or the consequences aren't legal, they're permanent." Tyler froze, gripping the envelope in his hand. Every instinct screamed danger. He wasn't sure if the threat came from someone protecting Rachel, a third-party manipulator, or someone entirely outside his comprehension. Detective Vance began piecing together a chilling timeline. Weeks before Rachel's disappearance, she had been meeting with an unknown individual at cafes across the city. Surveillance footage showed her exchanging what looked like small envelopes, her posture cautious, her eyes darting. Tyler had been unaware, she believed, of these meetings, but the evidence suggested otherwise. Someone had been orchestrating encounters, possibly planting evidence, maybe even laying the groundwork for the courtroom spectacle to come. Then there were the emails. Vance had them decrypted, one by one. The messages revealed a pattern of manipulation. Make sure he knows nothing yet. He must be confused before the reveal. Keep him close, but scared. Whoever wrote them had intimate knowledge of both Tyler and Rachel, and an agenda that went beyond simple revenge or jealousy. Adding fuel to the fire, Rachel's friends came forward. Their statements were inconsistent at first, but the story that emerged painted Rachel as both a careful planner and a pawn. Her texts to friends indicated worry over Tyler's financial dealings, fear of an unknown third party, and hints of a scheme she had been setting into motion herself. "If anything happens, trust no one," one message read cryptically. Then, another discovery shook the investigation. Surveillance from a nearby convenience store revealed someone rifling through Tyler as trash late at night. A shadow, hunched and quick, collecting discarded papers. A witness confirmed seeing the figure drive away in a car with license plates that didn't match any records in Tyler or Rachel's history. Someone was cleaning the trail, someone with intimate knowledge of both homes, both routines, and both secrets. The courtroom preparations intensified. Each attorney dug into Tyler and Rachel's financial history, their private communications, their social media interactions. Evidence was carefully cataloged, yet forensics continued uncovering more. Fingerprints on the hidden envelopes didn't match Tyler's. DNA on a discarded scarf didn't match Rachel's. And metadata suggested messages were sent from devices neither had registered. And then came the twist that would stun everyone. A third person, previously unknown, had been living in the shadows, someone who had access to both homes, both finances, and both communications. Their fingerprints appeared on documents. Their digital signature appeared on the emails. Vance stared at the files in disbelief. This wasn't just a cheating scandal or a domestic dispute. It was a meticulously orchestrated trap designed to make Tyler appear culpable and Rachel appear both victim and mastermind simultaneously. Tyler's phone buzzed again. Another message, this one from an untraceable number. You read next if you don't stay silent. Fear wrapped around him like a vice, but so did determination. The courtroom showdown was inevitable. He had no choice now but to confront the twisted web that had ensnared him. Detective Vance knew the case had only begun. The deeper she dug, the more dangerous it became. Every lead seemed to vanish into shadows. Every clue hinted at deception layered on deception. And just as Tyler prepared for what would be his first public testimony, the most shocking revelation arrived. Rachel's private journal. Previously undiscovered, detailing not only her own plans, but a confession that hinted at betrayal far closer than anyone could have imagined. The final line of the journal chilled the spine. Trust no one. The courthouse was packed. Cameras flashed, reporters murmured, and the public leaned in, hungry for every detail of the trial that had gripped social media for weeks. Tyler Scott sat at the defendant's table, face pale, hands clenched. Across the aisle, Rachel Morgan's expression was unreadable, calm, precise, controlled. Between them, the lawyers shuffled evidence, screens flickering with emails, bank statements, and security footage, each piece painting a portrait of manipulation, betrayal, and deceit. The first witness took the stand, Detective Lisa Vance herself. She recounted the discovery of hidden compartments, burner phones, passports, and envelopes. She described Tyler's panic, the trail of digital breadcrumbs, and the unsettling realization that a third party had orchestrated events from the shadows. The courtroom fell silent. Even the reporters paused, absorbing the magnitude of what Vance had uncovered. Then came the financial expert, detailing the hundreds of thousands of dollars that had moved through accounts under Rachel's initials. But as the spreadsheet scrolled across the big screen, a gasp ran through the room. One of the transactions, traced to a minor account in the Cayman Islands, wasn't just Rachel S. The expert revealed that a third party had manipulated the transfer, routing money to accounts that Tyler could never access and Rachel supposedly never touched. The courtroom tension skyrocketed. Was Rachel the mastermind, or was she being set up? Tyler's lawyer called him to the stand. For the first time, he spoke publicly, his voice trembling but steady. I trusted her. I trusted the system. I didn't know who to believe anymore. I was scared for my life. He recounted threats, shadowy figures, and the emails instructing him to act as a pawn. The jury listened, captivated. His story painted a man trapped in a nightmare, caught between a manipulative partner and a hidden adversary with terrifying precision. Then came Rachel's turn. She walked calmly to the stand, eyes unwavering. Her voice was measured. I loved him. I never wanted this to happen. But I knew someone was trying to destroy us, to make him the villain while hiding the truth. I documented everything so that, when the time came, the court would know what really happened. She produced her journal, the one Detective Vance had found. Each page detailed the manipulations, the suspicious financial movements, the strangers surveilling their homes, and the careful planning required to protect both herself and Tyler. The defense's final move was explosive. They introduced surveillance footage previously withheld from the public, showing the mysterious third party entering both Tyler and Rachel's apartments on separate nights. A figure wearing a hoodie and gloves, leaving documents and removing evidence. DNA swabs confirmed the identity. A former business associate of Tyler S., someone no one suspected, had orchestrated the entire scandal to settle old scores and claim revenge. Whispers filled the courtroom. The case was no longer about infidelity. It was about revenge, betrayal, and greed, carefully disguised as a domestic dispute. Tyler and Rachel were victims of an elaborate trap, and the jury, confronted with layers of deception, paused in stunned silence. Closing arguments framed the truth plainly. Tyler had been manipulated. Rachel had documented everything in good faith. The real culprit had hidden in plain sight. The judge's eyes scanned the courtroom. He spoke slowly, every word echoing. This case demonstrates how appearances can deceive, how even the most careful among us can become pawns in a cruel game. Justice must consider not just the surface, but the hidden forces at work. When the verdict came, it was almost anticlimactic in its clarity. Tyler was cleared of wrongdoing. Rachel was vindicated. The true manipulator, revealed through evidence, emails, and forensic data, faced immediate charges for fraud, harassment, and conspiracy. The courtroom erupted, but for Tyler and Rachel, relief was tempered by the knowledge that their lives had been irrevocably altered. Outside the courthouse, rain glistened on the pavement again, a reflection of the chaos and clarity intertwined. Reporters jostled for a final statement. Tyler turned to Rachel, both understanding without words that they had survived the nightmare together. But the shadows remained. Lessons learned, trust shattered, and the stark reality that the digital world could be weaponized against anyone lingered like a whisper in their minds. Weeks later, the last shocking revelation surfaced. Bank statements revealed that while the third party had been prosecuted, traces of manipulation remained, subtle but undeniable. Someone had accessed their accounts, their emails, and even personal devices. Justice had been served in court, yes, but the lingering threat hinted at a chilling truth. The real danger never fully disappears. It merely waits, patient, hidden in plain sight. And as Tyler and Rachel left the courthouse, holding each other close, Detective Vance reviewed the evidence one last time. A small envelope, overlooked during the trial, contained a single note. The game isn't over. For the viewers, the story ended with clarity, but for the characters, the nightmare had only paused. And as cameras faded and headlines promised closure, the truth lingered. In a world of secrets, betrayals, and hidden agendas, no one is ever truly safe. If you thought this story was intense, hit subscribe and check our channel for more cases like this. You're not ready to see what's coming next.